Hello, my honeys. It's Kamara, the Black Dove Oracle, and tonight I'm doing another live reading. I think I'm low key excited about Halloween. I think so this year. I just feel like, I don't know, but 'tis the season for Halloween. It's a nice, beautiful, thinly veiled time. So, as I wait for people to maybe join me in this live reading on why your energy vampires fear you, because they do, Um, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support of my brand new channel. It's growing. It's growing, and I really appreciate your support. I appreciate you ordering personal readings. So that has been really awesome for me to run across people who want personal readings and kind of give me the honor of reading for them. If you would like a personal reading, I do have a website, and this is where it's tickering below, where you could go to my website and see the kind of readings that I offer. Please know that I'll never approach you in the comments, either here or on any other platform, because I'm also on TikTok. On TikTok, I'm under Rooted Futures, so I'm not under the Black Dove Oracle. But I'm just going to tell you, I would never approach you for a reading. I always let you reach out to me first. I think that's how a lot of us readers are doing it. So please, don't get scammed, okay, my honeys? And I would love to do a personal reading for you. I also do spiritual coaching, so let me know if I can be of assistance to you. Another thing, if you wish to collaborate or you have business opportunities, please feel free to email me at blackdovedreamer.com. I have been so excited because the people from Otter Spirit have sponsored me and their jewelry. So I will show you a little bit more of their jewelry, but it's so amazing. And if you want a 30%, up to a 30% discount with Otter Spirit, just remember to order and use Black Dove when you order, because you can get a discount on your order. And I will show you these lovely bracelets again. They're really high quality gemstones. I've been wearing them ever since I got them. They're so balancing. I think one is Amazonite, the other is rose quartz and opal. So they're so beautiful and so, they're not priced expensively, but they really do seem expensive, and they match my nail color. They're very cool, and my moonstone ring. It's very cool. So, and they have a lot of different varieties, bracelets. I think they have other types of jewelry, and you can see what they. I think they create new creations every month too. So again, use that discount code if you want a discount at Otter Spirit. So thank you, Otter Spirit. Lastly, I do hope that while you're watching this and before you click off, that you will like, you will comment, and subscribe. It really does help me grow this brand new channel, and I really do appreciate you honeys. Okay, so why don't we get into the reading? There's going to be 4 groups tonight. And these 4 groups, these are just avatars that you could look at, but we will dive into the energies of these 4 groups. Why your energy vampires fear you. Okay, so why don't we get it all set up here? I am going to click off of this. I'm going to open myself up. Hello, my honeys. And then we are going to go to our first group number 1. Okay, my honeys. So let me put this here. And group number 1, we are going to clear the energies for your reading. So let's do a little Palo Santo, just to kind of clear the air, clear the energies, and get started with you. And we will also do a small chime. Okay. So, group number one. You know what I got right away, group number one? Because I was looking at your avatar, and Spirit said that you are from a family that may be a religious minority where you live, meaning other people are totally a different religion, but your family might be just of a few families that worship differently. And Spirit said this is important for you to know because it gave me a glimpse of the history of your family, group number one, as a family that was specifically brought to an area because they have a different kind of religious background. It gave you some kind of advantage ancestrally when it came to dealing with energy vampires. Now, I think your family has been battling energy vampires for a while. Really. And, some people think of energy vampires as just people who want to leech on your energy, which is true, right? They leech on your energy. But for some people, some traditions, we know that vampires actually exist as a species that really takes the energy from other people. And I'm hearing from Spirit Group number one that your family has been quite famous, quite visible in terms of your ability to ward off negative energies, especially in the form of energy vampires. So, why do they fear you? It's because you do bring the sun, you bring the light. Group number one, you bring the light. And as we know, a lot of these negative energies like to hide in the shadows, likes to hide in the dark. But you're one of these people, group number one, that when you arrive, you make everything clear. You put everything on the table. You're not a person that likes to cower when it comes to different forces. You're actually pretty upright. You're pretty direct. Um, your energy vampires, they fear you too because you're so quick to release any kind of negative energy. So if you're hanging around people and you sense that their energy is off, you sense that there's I don't know, just something negative about them, and you're even tapping into your own energy, you don't stay around for too long. You're just like, you cut it off. You're like, well, you know what? I don't think I belong here. And you'll remove yourself most of the time. If it's your space, you will end whatever you have going on. If it's a party, if it's like a dinner thing, it's time to wrap up. So, you're also very much intuitive. I think that you don't mind using those gifts of intuition. You can actually see in very powerful ways. Some of you are very powerful dreamers, meaning that you have prophetic dreams, and people are always asking you if you've seen anything, that they may have a question about. Some people may go to you as a psychic, as an oracle. So some of you work in the traditional ways of the ancient Sibyls, which is to work with burning herbs, smoke. So you're very powerful that way. What else, Spirit? Spirit is also saying, yes, you are known as someone who's very learned, someone who has not only realized their natural gifts of being psychic or a seer, but you are also someone who studies spirituality. So you're very intelligent when it comes to, I don't know why I'm hearing this, but I'm hearing you're very intelligent when it comes to the sutras. So maybe some of you study old religious texts, but you are considered someone who's also very intelligent when it comes to spirituality. Maybe you can quote certain religious texts. So that's why your energy vampires feel like you're something to fear. Let's see what kind of energy vampires you attract. Because I think there's specific ones that people do tend to attract over and over again. You tend to attract, we have the networker here, you tend to attract energy vampires that want to leech off of your success. They want to be connected to you. Some of you are very successful at the work that you do. So you tend to meet a lot of energy vibrant. If you're not successful at the work that you do, you know a lot of people who are successful. So Spirit is saying one of those two or both. But you attract energy vampires that tend to want to hang around you. They want to, hey, Cindy, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Yeah, you tend to attract these energy vampires that want to leech off of your off of you socially. So they want to like know who you know. They may even throw around your name a little bit, like I know group number one, and you're kind of one of these people that's like we don't really know each other. I think sometimes your energy vampires will try to invite themselves to places where they know you're going to be, and you're just like, that person. Your energy vampires, the ones that you attract to, they always seem to want something from you. This is that person who's like, hey, I heard that this person's going to be at this event tonight and I can't seem to get in. Can you get me in? Like this is that energy vampire. And so, beggar, networker, you may also attract energy vampires that are addicted in some way. These might be people who drink a lot, people who may do other substances, but really, they might even be addicted to your energy. This is what Spirit's saying too. They may be even addicted to your energy. So Spirit is saying that you've kind of learned this over the years with these energy vampires. They are also visionary upside down. The vampires that are attracted to you, group number one, they tend to be people who don't have their own original ideas, people who want to copy off of your success, people, like I said, who want to closely link themselves and ride your coattails. This is the kind of energy vampires that you tend to attract. So, how do you end them? Because I believe you are a vampire slayer. Group number one. How do you end your energy vampires? Because how do you slay them? You are a knight. You see with that sword? So for many of you, you will slice through a lot of the untruths. You will put your sword through a lot of their kind of the false ways that they show up. You actually do bring them to their knees with the things that you clarify, with the things that you say. The sword is also about how you vocalize your slay. And so, your energy vampires, I think they tend to look at you as someone that they don't want to be on the wrong side of, but they already know that is probably what's going to happen. Yeah, the knight. You are a straight up knight when it comes to how you slay your vampires. I mean, you fight them. And there may be times where people around you, your friends are like, come on, let's just walk away. Let's just walk away. And you're like, no. You're like, no, it's about time I told you how I really feel. Like you are one of these people, group number one, where, sometimes your family, sometimes your friends, they have to pull you back because there will be times, and I'm not saying that you're going to try a physical fight, but you really might get close sometimes because you have to show them your sword sometimes. And I think you have the kind of vampires that really nip at your heels, the kind that really bug you. And you're just like, no, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to get out my face. I really think that's how you are, group number one. You just like, yeah. You set in the record straight. You're like, let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you what's up. Like I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you all night. I'm not gonna sit here and navigate you all night. Let me just tell you why you got to get out of my face and why you got to get out of wherever I'm at. So that's a little bit of like how you deal with these energy vampires. So what's your reputation then? Because I mean, we've been talking about it. Yeah. Witches gathering, it says, gather in power, come in grace, unity is right. Yeah, I really do feel like your reputation is that you will equalize whatever environment these vampires are in. You know, if they show up to a gathering, if they, because I'm getting a sense that your vampires, they really try to hang on the edges of your social circles. For some of you, spirit is saying that's because they're family members. But if they're not family members, for some reason they may be a family member of a friend. You know, like there's some reason why they still end up in your social gatherings. And for some of you, this might be an ex, you know what I mean? But for whoever it is, it's like they may have access from time to time to with different social gatherings, and spirit is saying usually it's around the holidays or somebody's birthday, but you are the one that kind of equalizes the air when they come in. You let them know that there's a boundary here, that you're not going to accept any like out, uh, behavior that you're going to have to intervene in. You kind of set the setting. You kind of set it straight right when they walk in the door. You're like, here, come here, let me talk to you. You're like, I don't want to see any of this. I don't want to see any of that. You know, like you kind of are that person that will tell that person no more. You know, if you are going to be here, because I think you try to work within the realms of the social gathering, but you know, sometimes you made these vampires uncomfortable. You are that person. If there's a toxic family member, you let them know we're not going to be doing what we did last year or maybe 2 years ago. So let's see if Spirit has anything else to say about the fear of your energy, the energy vampires when it comes to you, group number one. Yeah, again, look at that. This page of swords. You will not hesitate to use your sword. For many of you, this is your intellect, this is your mouth. Like you will not hesitate to call someone out. So that's just funny, like Page of Swords, and the swords just keep coming up. Yeah, and I think the your energy vampires, they, because I think really you are this upright queen of cups, but when it comes to them, you're able to kind of turn that off. You're able to be like, listen, as much as I love everybody here, and for some cases, you may even love them in a particular way, but you will create the boundary, group number one. And you will not let someone take advantage of your feelings, of your emotions. Okay. So let me see if there's anything else that Spirit wants to share. It's pretty clear. You call them out, group number one. You don't take any. Yeah. You have Five of Cups here. You will quickly put someone on the outside. You will quickly put someone, you will separate someone from the rest of the group if you need to. And I think people love that about you because you really protect the energy of other people too. Like you're the one who kind of steps in and says, you know, let me make this my responsibility. And people, maybe they don't mind. For some of you, you've had to put people out the boat. You've had to put people out the, you know, you've had to do what you've had to do. I don't know why, but Spirit keeps pointing to the fact that maybe some of you have some kind of narcissistic family member. There's something there, like someone who you can't really guarantee that they won't show up to things, but you are always that person who's looking out for everyone and making sure it's not a toxic event. Anything else, Spirit? Let's see. Yeah, I just feel like you use your leadership, you use your passion, and you really get things across. King of Wands is really kind of a warrior too. So I think that's just the energy that you have all the time. All right, group number 1. That is why energy vampires fear you, because you will tell them off. Please put in the comments if that feels like it resonates, because it might. Yeah, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I can turn that banner off actually. And we're gonna shuffle the cards and we will get to group number 2. Thank you all for joining me, my honeys. It's great to see you all. Cindy, great to see you. And yeah, let me just shuffle a few cards and we will get to group number 2. How are you all doing? All right. Yeah, I think there are cases where these vampires, I think they like to make groups of people feel like they're needed, their presence is needed. But yeah, group number 1, I think you're one of those people that's like, nope, actually, you didn't have to come. Actually, you don't need to stay. Very direct. Group number 1, very direct. All right. It's starting to get cold here, you guys. I think it's going to snow this weekend where I'm at. The air, the temperature is cooling down. So I'm preparing. Yeah. Cindy, you said he scared a couple of vamps in there. Yeah, it's honest love language that you have to call people out with. Yeah, like you should have stayed home. You really didn't have to come. No, we didn't. We don't need your gifts. We don't need your pot. We don't need your casserole. It's okay. Okay, one more deck for me to shuffle. Yeah. I mean, it's a trip. But I think, rather than have everybody go through some toxic evening, hey, someone's got to say it. All right, let's go to group number 2. All right, group number 2. All right. Why energy vampires are afraid of you, group number 2. Let's clear the energy. And since we're talking about energy vampires, we probably should do just a little bit of Palo Santo, a little bit, just to clear the air. Okay, my honeys, how are you doing? Group number 2, let's go. Group number 2, Spirit said something about how your spirit team is the Unsullied. Like from Game of Thrones, the Unsullied, her army, the queen of the dragons, the queen of dragons. Was that her name? I sometimes I forget the name of these characters, but she had that whole army behind her that just had like a mask on. Spirit says you have an army behind you, group number 2, that's kind of like that. Like you work with an army of guides, protective guides like that. So your energy vampires are afraid to even confront your protective guides, group number 2. And Spirit is saying that those are particular like warriors from your ancestral bloodline. So They stand firmly behind you. So many energy vampires, they don't even have any kind of chance with you because they know if they cross the line, there are your protectors. You're someone who trusts your instincts too. Well, I think you're one of these people, group number two, where a group of people can meet someone and you're the first one to be like, no, I don't want to F with that person. And everyone else is like, why? They seem so kind. They seem so cool. And you're like, no. You're just like, nope. You trust your instincts when it comes to people, meaning you can sniff out, um, toxic energy, even while it's pretending, like in the honeymoon phase, to be very amiable, amiable, amiable. That's a big word, Spirit. Yeah, and you're also one of these people too, group number two, that you don't mind changing your mind about someone if it is the case. Sometimes what will happen is that you will meet someone that everybody else likes, and you're the one that's kind of like, I think I'm going to just wait. I'm going to wait until this person proves themselves to me. And you don't mind being the slower one, the one that kind of lets people introduce themselves, their real selves, to the situation. So you're kind of a little bit more reserved, and you don't give in to peer pressure when it comes to getting to know people. Even if your best friends are like, "Hey, this person is cool." It's not like I don't think you're mean to people, but it's not like you give them full access right away. You are someone who's very much in warrior energy, group number two. And I told you it's because your guides behind you are the army of the unsullied. I keep hearing that. Like you walk with the unsullied in terms of your guards, your guides. And Spirit is saying this is true. So it's like your energy vampires don't really get close access to you because they feel energetically like, like the swords just kind of cross in front of you as they try to access you. Very interesting. You're also someone who's a healer, group number two. And part of your medicine is to help some people transmute out of this vampirism, this vampiric energy. So maybe you work with people around their trauma. Maybe you're that kind of healer that can exorcise negative energies out of people. Oh, this is deep. It's like you have that power and ability to not only not be afraid of energy vampires, but help them heal themselves. That's interesting. Spirit saying you can help people heal themselves from that kind of energy. Maybe there's something in a weird way you understand how someone could have Spirit is saying you may even help people that have been bitten by a vampire. Like it is true that once you're bitten by a vampire, you can become a vampire. And I think what all of that is saying is very symbolic. Like once you've been in contact with some kind of narcissistic energy, you may pick up some of those traits. But you're the kind of person, the kind of healer, group number two, that can help people get out of that trait, get out of those wounds and pains that they've experienced being inflicted by another vampire. So you have special gifts, you have special powers. I don't know if I think it does make certain vampires afraid, especially people who really want to be a vampire. But I think too, there are some people that are really grateful for what you do for them. I think because you're fearless of that energy and you really say, hey, let me help you understand what's happening. Maybe you do some kind of inner child work with people. Maybe you're a therapist. Maybe you're a counselor. Yeah, that is the gift, huh? Because it's interesting, different from group number one. You don't slay them, you cure them. They know they're going to be cured if they're in your presence, group number two. And there's something about that, because they know that the cure also means, yeah, that they'll have to submit to your power. Many of you attract the kind of vampire, energetic vampire, because it's like, what kind of vampire do you attract? You attract the ones that are kind of loners, the ones that like to specifically inflict their negative energy on unsuspected people. So oftentimes, group number 2, spirit is showing it to me. When you encounter a vampire, it's usually a one-on-one thing. You're like, that's interesting that you think that. That's interesting that you want to do that. Tell me more. You're very curious. You don't appear defensive with these vampires. But I told you before, it's because you have the unsullied. You do. You have the unsullied at your back. So you don't really need to like protect yourself around energy vampires, because your spirit team, your guides, they protect you. It's actually like they put a wall up. I keep seeing this, like with their swords, like they put a wall up. So you're one of these people that could work with maybe people who are in some deep like crisis, maybe people who have been in really how do I want to say, they've had to like live in dark corners of the world, like they're trying to cure themselves from a lot of real heavy stuff. You're one of those healers that can go and do that work. There's certain therapists even who, I used to know a couple in San Francisco. They would they weren't a couple, but I knew two or more therapists who did street outreach, meaning they would go in a van or an ambulance and they'd drive around to all kinds of like houseless encampments, and they would do counseling straight from the street. You're one of these people, group number 2. Like, you're not afraid to go into places where other people might be concerned. Like, you actually know, you get to know those communities, you help them out. Even some people who are dealing with some very deep vampiric, I'm hearing vampiric kind of illnesses even. That's pretty interesting. You also tend to, on another note, you tend to attract vampires that are attracted to you. You tend to attract those vampires who like to use their actual energy on people. And I can see why, group number 2. Spirit is saying you're very beautiful. You've got some really cool, good looks. There's something fierce about you, your eyes, the way you stand. People can see your power, and it's very attractive, especially to these kind of particular energy vampires. So you tend to meet a few of them who want to woo you, who want to spirit is saying bed you, who want to these are the kind that will search you out, who will watch you because they want to know what's the best strategy to get towards you. But we've got to remember again, and I think too, group number 2, your spirit team that's in back of you, like, oh. So I think sometimes, group number 2, spirit is showing me, there will be people who want to come towards you, and it's almost like there's a force field. And you're always, I think you've learned over the years to not question it anymore. Like, these people, like when they don't get access to you, and it doesn't even have to only be like romantic interest, but there's some people who want to come towards you to be your friend or, your colleague. And there's like this force field, and you've learned how to recognize it, group number 2, the force field. And you understand it's your guards. It's your spiritual guards. They're like, no. And you don't even ask any questions. You're just like, okay. And that at a deeper level, that person has something vampiric going on with them, and they just really can't get access to you. Not in a way, not unless you're like purposefully working with them to heal themselves. Other people, if they're not about that, nah. Yeah. As pile one, tough love style, but you're learning from pile number two, right? Because spirit is saying pile two, group two, the way that you work is kind of evolved from the kind of, slice them, cut them down. And I'm not saying that pile one has like an unevolved style, because that style is very much needed. But group number two, you are you're kind of that vampire slayer that does your work through healing. And so it's been interesting for you, because I think you had to learn how to listen to your spirit team, because your spirit team, they're your guards. And so when you've learned how to tune into that spirit team, you understand they will protect you ultimately. And you don't question their decisions anymore. Hey, Divine Roberts. Yeah. Another live. Thank you so much. So yeah, we're on group number two. Let's go to what your reputation is. Harvest Witch. It says here, what sacrifices have you made for the greater vision of what's to be? Yeah, I would say this connects, because group number two, you sacrifice the idea that all of these vampires just need to be destroyed. You're one of these people that actually goes in and says, you know what? People can be healed. And so it's weird. It's like your compassion towards these energy vampires actually helps many of them transform. Okay. And it's just interesting how you work with them. I didn't even expect this to be the reading, but that's what Spirit's saying. Yeah. Honestly, Cindy, you say honestly, use style one for those who refuse. I'm going to put that up. Yeah. Use style one for those who refuse to be reformed. Okay. And style two is for those who recognize they can heal through spiritual mild immersion. I love that, Cindy. Okay. Hey, Amar Aura, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we're talking about your special gift, group number two. And it's interesting because I could see group number one and two kind of tag teaming it. You know what I mean? Like when dealing with these vampires, it's like, okay, group number one might say, hey, group number two might be able to help you. And when they're like, I don't need any help, I'm perfect the way I am, then group number one is going to do their work with their sword. So how group number two, when you do, well, this is kind of a question we did answer and then we didn't. There may be times, group number two, where you have to end them, where you have to be like, no, this energy is not something I'm going to deal with any longer. And you use harpy energy. Hold on. It says here, I'm going to put my glasses on because some of this writing's a little small. It says here that you use harpy energy. It's interesting because I do think that you surrender them to your guards. You surrender vampires to your guards if they try to cross your boundaries. If they try to get, I don't even think you have to warn them. Your guards just take over. So when your vampires cross the line, they just meet your guards. They just meet your guards. Okay, so that's that. Let's see if there's any other messages that Spirit has for you, group number two. Very powerful work that you're doing, though, because it is saying that there are people out there who can take people from the outside. Many of you in group number two work with people who are in the margins. And sometimes people, not all the time, but sometimes people are in the margins because they have been attacked by vampires. meaning they've been traumatized somewhere in their life and they're trying to heal themselves. And I think group number 2, you understand that. It is, Cindy, isn't it? Like admirable work. Like you're not afraid to help people lift themselves out of that energy. Yeah, you bring justice to a situation and you help the victims of vampires. That's what Spirit is saying. You help the victims of vampires. You maybe at some point in your life, Spirit is saying someone you loved also succumbed to a vampire attack. And when I say all this, it's kind of symbolic, right? You know, people attacked by vampires, meaning attacked by substance, alcohol, attacked by abuse and trauma. You may have had a family member that experienced that same kind of attack and you love this person. You know what I mean? So you did your best to help them get out of that situation. And then it became your work. It became your work. For some of you, your family member didn't get healed by you and they may have succumbed to their injuries. So I'm sorry for that. But you're doing that work now. Some of you decided to become a counselor, a doctor. Spirit's saying some of you may have even decided to become a lawyer. Yeah, whatever the work you're doing. Yeah, one more card. Yeah, Spirit is saying around you, you are not going to let injustice happen to anyone who actually wants to heal. We have 7 of Swords in reverse. You're not going to let anyone who truly wants to heal have to continue to suffer. You'll do your best to help them out. Wow. Okay, group number 2. Very powerful. Very powerful. If you resonate with that, please give it a like. Please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that, but it would be cool to know who you are too. What could you put a group number 1? You should put a sword in the comments because I didn't mention that before. And group number 2, I feel like you should put some kind of healing sign in the comments. I don't know if there's like a caduceus or yeah. Oh, Cindy, you say your parents fit this description? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the same with my father. He succumbed to, you know, those kind of injuries too. And I think it is something that did motivate me, you know, in my work to become a counselor because of just how he had to deal with that lifelong. I don't know if the same was for your parents, Cindy, but you know, when you have family members who really you had to watch suffer, you had to figure out what boundaries to use with them. It's hard because, you know, you love people and you want you know them. I don't know. Some of us, we've known these people when they weren't inflicted. And then I don't know. Yep. Okay. Yeah. A healing drink, group number 2. Like a bowl of, I think they have pho and they have soup. So that would be cool for group number 2. Yeah. It is hard to learn how to balance dealing with, you know, someone you love who's kind of succumbed to that energy. Yeah. So we're getting ready to move on to group number 3. Hello, my honeys. Thanks for joining. It's great to see some people I haven't seen in a while, but I haven't been doing lives in a while. So I'm really happy to see folks. Please take a moment to like this live stream. It just helps me to get people to be able to view it at the recording later, if you're so inclined. And I have just a couple of more decks to shuffle. How are you? And we'll get started with group number 3. So let me go to group number 3. Okay, group 3. And let's clear the energies. Thank you so much, my honeys, for joining me tonight. You could be sleeping right now. Maybe you are in bed. So let's clear the energies for group number 3. All right. Group number 3, the channel message that even came forward before when I was kind of like setting up the reading. The channel message said for you, group number 3, that you have a childlike nature that's even a slayer. So there's something about you, group number 3. People think you are not a slayer because you have a baby face. You have like a childlike quality about you. And so people think that they can get over on you. But Spirit said, even your child is a slayer. Even your child slays the vampires. Okay, Cindy, you're in bed. Tuck, tuck. So why do your energy vampires fear you, group number 3? Because you will put them in the sun. You will shine such a light on them. Kind of similar to group number 1, same kind of starting out card. So you are a slayer. You will put them in the sun. What else, Spirit? They're afraid of you because you are a wolf. Now you belong to a clan, but you're not afraid to be on your own. Meaning Spirit is saying you can be a lone wolf too. Like you don't have to be with the crowd to slay your vampires. You can do it on your own if when necessary, because you will take care of your needs. You're not someone who is going to get tricked into any kind of codependent situation. You're going to be like, no, I can actually, when you start to get a whiff of anything that feels codependent or someone trying to make it seem like you're less than who you are, you're like, oh, I'm good. Well, this person will think like they could try to corner you into some kind of maybe vulnerable situation, but you're not like that, group number 3. A lot of people mistake your softness and your childlike. Okay, thank you, Tula. A lot of people mistake your softness. They mistake your childlike demeanor as meaning you're weak. You're not. And so, yeah, look at that. You are someone who is very much a light bringer. Spirit is saying this. In fact, this is your power, light. Meaning your light is so powerful. Some of you even sing light language. Yeah, you're not afraid. I like that. You said that, Amara Aura. You're not afraid to be vulnerable, meaning you're not even afraid to show your inner child to people. You're not afraid to let your inner child out. You understand and have been working with that energy for quite some time. But guess what? You also you see deeply into people. And so you will recognize someone's vampiric energy probably before they even recognize it. Wow. Like Spirit is saying, you can see when people have been exposed to toxicity and they want to pass it on. You're like, that's interesting. But that's kind of the power of children. You know how children, I don't know if you all are around children sometimes, but children, even your pets like dogs and cats, they know people's energy before you even know it. You know what I mean? You'll be like, oh, my child usually is so giggly and laughing around people, but when they meet that one person, they're like, or I know my cat, if I have someone come over, there's certain people, if she never comes out of hiding, then I know she doesn't like someone. But if she comes out and she starts playing with people and she sits on their lap, I know that person has good energy. But if she hides the whole time, but yeah, you're right, Cindy. Kids are so frank. Kids will be like, who the hell is this? They may not say hell, but yeah, they don't sugarcoat. They're like, who's this person? I don't like that person. I remember my son would be like that with certain people that I knew. He'd be like, I don't like that person. And I'm all like, really? You know, they wouldn't say it. You wouldn't say it to their face, but you know, after they leave, you'd be like, that person, I don't like their energy. And I was always like, and he always turned out to be right, you know. Um, Group number 3, you have gone through many versions of yourself. I think for many of you, group number 3, you've had to heal yourself from vampire attacks. And so I think you are very clear on just what those kinds of attacks look like. And you've had to shed your skin quite literally. Some of you have gone through your own healing process. And because of that, you've been able to access your inner child again. You've been able to like work with your inner child in such a way that you just let it out to play. You just let it out to play. But you're very much a protector of that child. And so, yeah, that their very first impression, you're right, Amar, is that you are just a little plaything. And Spirit is saying, wow, do they find out? Wow, do they find out? Very interesting. So let's ask, what kind of vampires do you attract? Because we all attract certain kinds. The kind that need to be exercised. Now, you know, we just got through with group number 2. And group number 2 heals those people. But group number 3, you are an exorciser. You are an exorcist. Okay? Yep. And exorcist power, I think you're right, Tula. Exorcist power comes after the school of hard knocks, the school of having to learn your lesson, having to survive many attacks, because then you learn how to really fight this energy. Some of you, Spirit is saying, have been in relationships with vampires. Some of you have been related to someone in a primary family role who was a vampire. Yeah. The kind of vampires that you attract, they're often the narcissistic kind. The kind that really are going to try to gaslight you and prove that they are somewhat in authority. You know what I'm saying? Some of you have survived a very formidable narcissist. And I don't throw that word around lightly. Because when I talk about surviving this kind of narcissist, that means that your whole life may have been destroyed and you had to rebuild like a phoenix. Quite literally, group number 3, Spirit is showing me a phoenix. Like you had to, Amar Aura, you just said turn to dust. I don't know if this is what you meant, but really, Spirit is showing me like it would have almost seemed as if you were destroyed and then you rose up from the ashes. And with that power, Spirit is saying, you became an exorcist. Wow. Spirit is saying your childlike demeanor, it actually calls them out, these vampires. It's your way of calling them out. Wow. Some of them see you and they think, because you've survived this kind of attack, you know now that child demeanor, I really do get that some of you look way younger than you are. But you get it. Your gentle nature is actually a trap for these kind of vampires, because you will exercise them once they come in your energy. You know, there's a lot of people who want to stay away from narcissists once they've kind of escaped their energy. But you, group number 3, you feel like it's your duty. I'm serious. Spirit's like, it is your duty to exercise them. And what I mean by that is some of you, if you realize a friend or a family member is involved with this type, you're going to exercise them. You're going to make sure no one suffers from their attacks, from their bite. You will do what you can to expose these types of vampires. The power manifests in the safety of a playful inner child. Yeah. Lastly, the vampires that you attract, they are, I don't know, they're just classically these narc kind of people. They classically try to put themselves in some kind of a position of authority, whether it's the judge or the teacher. These are people, I mean, literally group number 3, if I didn't know any better, because I do this kind of work in my therapy practice, I help people who are survivors of cults. That's another one of my specialties. I believe you're one of those people that helps people get out of cults. I don't do that. I mean, I help people after the fact, but there are people who actually help people remove themselves from cults. You might be one of those people. If you haven't thought about it, you may have that special gift. Okay. There are some people who know how to do that, how to help people well, I do a certain level of deprogramming, but you would have already had to have left. But there's some people who can help people deprogram, like right as they're in those kinds of situations. You're probably one of them, group number 3, if that's something you've ever thought about. I didn't even realize how many cults there were until I started my studies as a therapist. Not all cults are the kind that are on Netflix. There's some cults that are just like a house of people. They could be like 10 people, 5 people, you know? Yeah. Can be very interesting. Really, Cindy? Wow. Yeah, wow. I am telling you, some of the strongest people I've ever met are people who have left cults. Yeah, it's still work that you have to do to deprogram yourself. And there are very big religious cults that people don't know are cults, but they think they're religions. And I'm all like, no, that's a cult. That's a cult. So yeah. Wow, Cindy, I'm glad that you got out of that situation. Some people are born into cults, like their parents were in cults, way before they were even born. So yeah, it's very psychologically tricky situation. But group number 3, how do you end them? Because this is interesting. How do you end them? How do you exercise them? Oh, you were born into it? Yeah. I've met quite a few people who were born into it. Yeah. Then you do become pile 1. You really do. You really do. What do you become, group number 3? The same. You will take them on. You take them on. Yeah, I'm glad you're out of that, Cindy, because yeah, that's all I got to say. There's a lot of people out there who've survived those kinds of experiences, but there's a wound there. For many people, it takes time to heal. Group number 3, it says doppelganger. And it's interesting because the doppelganger means you have like a double. And I think your double is your inner child. It's interesting, group number 3. It's like you fight with your inner child. There's your adult self, and then there's your inner child self, and you both tag team it. Your inner child calls them in, and your adult self takes them out, exercises them. Wow. Very interesting. I mean, your technique, very interesting. Okay. What's your reputation? I mean, we probably talked about it. But what's your reputation, group number 3? Because you're very specialized in how you deal with vampires. You have a very specialized way of dealing with them. Look at that. Witch and Rosary. Many of you in group number 3, you have crafted your skills. Remember, we talked about that. Because you've had to yourself survive vampire attacks. So now you have a very honed skill for how you deal with this energy. Some of you have a very powerful spiritual practice, one that grounds you, one that fortifies you. You may even use spells on yourself, like you fortify your force field with a spell. You may just routinely connect with your guides and with spirit itself. You use a familiar, some of you. Some of you have a familiar. It could be a winged familiar, but it doesn't have to be. Spirit says some of you may have a four-legged. But you work with a familiar. You're like those characters in the movie where the hero is, Princess Mononoke. Like Princess Mononoke, he worked with that. Was it an elk or a deer? I don't know. Somebody let me know. But remember his elk or deer companion would follow him around. You all work with a similar energy. It says an owl here, but it doesn't have to be an owl. Spirit is saying it might be a bird like a crow, or it might be some kind of four-leg, like your pet might be a spiritual familiar for you. Group number 3. Okay, let's see if there's any other messages for you, group number 3. You're very powerful. I think you've taken this on as your life's work. Yeah, Queen of Wands energy. In a weird way, group number 3, because of your success with this work, you do gather kind of a little bit of a following, but you don't like it. You're like, people don't need to follow me. I'm just doing what I should be doing. But people admire you, group number 3. They understand that it takes a lot. Hey, Raj, good to see you. It takes a lot to overcome vampiric attacks and then be a survivor and also an exorcist. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of admirers, group number 3. You have a lot of people who celebrate you, who admire you, who have seen your road, and they know what it takes. Yeah, iconic work. You're right, Cindy. It's like your community celebrates you. Your family celebrates you. In many ways, they see you as the emperor. And that is your energy. It's kind of interesting. You started out in this young childlike energy, but guess who's behind the whole thing? The emperor. And I like this emperor because it fits group number 3. Kind of looks like a shaman. You know what I mean? And that's kind of your energy, right? You're able to go into the deep, dark depths and take out the darkness. You will travel there. You will go there. And you will fight that energy. You will exercise it. And everybody just feels protected by you. That's why you're the emperor, regardless of gender. You are the emperor. You think that's your work, huh, Amor? It's very honorable work. Yeah. The emperor and the inner child. Cindy's got it. Hold on, I got to show that card again. The emperor and the inner child. That's your doppelganger. You've got emperor energy and child energy. I've never even seen that before in a reading. Very interesting technique you have, group number 3. Very admirable. All of you all. But wow, group number 3. It's like an innovative way in which you've learned how to fight this energy. Okay, group number 3. Let me see if there's any other final messages for you. Good to see you, Raj. Yeah, Queen of Wands. I mean, all the cards are pulling up are kind of like warrior energies, use of fire. So, yeah, that confirms. Yeah, 10 of Cups. You are a great protector, either of your family or your community, your friends. You're a great protector. People feel very safe in your hands. Okay, group number 3. Wow. Whoa. Very interesting. I didn't even know that reading could go that way. All right. Okay. Let's prepare for group number 4. It's so cool to see folks in here. Great to see you all. I thought it was going to be kind of one of those quiet live streams. You know, the kind where you're just by yourself, but it's fine if I'm by myself, but it's great to see you all. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to get started on our last group. I know that was deep, group number 3. What should you put in the, put a fire sign in the comments, group number 3, if you will. That lets us know who you are, who to run to. Okay? Wow. Yeah. I love that. Okay. So one more group, you all, and that's group number 4. And again, take a moment to like this live stream. Yeah. Inner child work can be so powerful, you all. It really is. Very powerful work. Because after a while, you are the one that's parenting that child now. So you can give that child back its childhood in a safe way, protected way. Yeah. Very powerful work. Okay, let's go to group number 4. Okay. We're going to clear the energies. Group number 4. Let's do a little Palo Santo just to clear off the energy. Since we're dealing with talking about vampires, we got to make sure we keep it clean. For real. Those energies are very sticky. Okay, and let's clear the energy one more time. Okay, group number 4. What was the channel message I received when I was setting up for group number 4? It says, Spirit says, your purpose will not let you F around with any energy vampires. That's what Spirit said. Your purpose is what keeps you on point, especially when it comes to energy vampires. But let's see. Who are you, group number 4? So group number 4, Spirit is saying, wow, you're a warrior. If you look at that picture, the avatar, and here, Spirit is saying you are the warrior. Another group had this card, and it was like their spirit teams were the warriors. You are the warrior, group number 4. Your energy vampires can see. You wear it on you. You smell like a warrior. That's what Spirit is saying. You smell like a warrior. You walk like a warrior. You hold your head like a warrior. Yeah, Spirit is saying that this is part of your star lineage, even like this position for you, warrior. It's been passed down even from your star ancestors. Very fierce. Yes. You're not the kind that energy vampires run up to. In fact, quite the opposite. Yeah. Many of you are an oracle too. So you have the gift of prophecy. You're able to go within. You're kind of that religious warrior. You know, I don't know why spirit is showing me you're kneeling on one knee and you're praying. You're that kind of warrior. Like you pray with your armor on. Very interesting. Yes. This is your pile, Rach. Yep. This is you. Like you very much stand your ground. You're not a movable force. You're very grounded, very rooted. And many people, they rely on your energy for that. You are not a person to be swayed by ridiculousness. You're not a person to be swayed easily. Yeah. You trust and you thrive. You are very self-assured, group number 4. It is very hard for people to change your mind about something once you've made it up. You may be a Taurus or may have some earth energy that's very prominent in your chart. You're very clear on things. And there's an inner knowingness that doesn't let you do not go for the hokey doke. That's just not your energy. And it's interesting. People don't even run up to you with that energy. I think over the years, you've had to learn how to be a little bit more, exchange that energy more. Like people like that about you, but you can, for some people, feel a little stoic. For some people, you can feel a little firm. And I think it's just your energy is very serious. And so I think you've learned, more recently about kind of, being open to people, being more open, but you still, Cindy's right. You still have that clarity and certainty. It's not a protectiveness. It's more of like, no, I just know. It's like, no, I just know. Many of you have a very close relationship to your ancestors and your guides. Like your guides and your ancestors talk to you. And so you listen. So, I mean, it's really hard for any kind of vampiric energy to get through. Because not only, it's not like was that group number 2 where they had like an army behind them? You are your army. Yeah. Aquarius. Yeah. You are your own moon. So, that kind of even says it right away. But, vampires, energy vampires, they do like to try. So what kind do you tend to attract? Fixed energy. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Oh, you try to attract, you attract these vampires, group number 4, that are fallen angels. You attract the fallen angels. The ones that try to be innocent and angelic, but it's funny because, like I said, you already know. You already know who they are a mile away. These fallen angels are the kind that fool everybody except you. This is that person who everybody follows. They love them. They're so popular. And you're the one that's like, I see exactly who you are. I'm being reminded of grad school for a minute, but I'm not going to talk about it because some of those people might watch me. But yeah. You're the one who peeps it. You can peep the leader that is toxic, that everybody seems to admire. Oh, I will tell you all this story. You all know that book. What is that book? I even want to forget it myself. The Body Keeps the Score. The Body Keeps the Score. It was written by this, I don't know, maybe it's a psychologist or something. Anyway, everybody, you know, at least in my field, was always like, I love that book, and whatever. And I remember meeting this guy who wrote this book, and I was like, there's like no way in hell I would ever recommend that book. You know, like maybe that book is cool, but this guy, ooh, he is so toxic, you all. And I was like, and there's a few of us that know that because we've met and interacted with him, but he's like all over the internet, like, oh my God, I love this person. He gets to speak all the time. And you're like, but that's kind of the example of it, group number 4. Like you have an experience with someone and you're like, no, this person is not who they are, who they seem. And that's you. So you can tell when the queen is upside down. You could tell when the emperor is naked. Yeah, you've been trying to read that book and you can't. There's a reason. There is a reason. Wow. Yeah. There's a reason. Amor. Yeah, fallen angel energy. Because, you know, people used to be an angel. They used to be able to ride that. They try to continue to ride that identity, but they're not that anymore. Meaning they have the makeup of an angel, but they're a fallen angel. So it's a disguise that they wear. Yeah. Your vampires also try to appear like a child, an orphan child, someone who needs help. Help me. Your vampires, group number 4, they are a psychological trip. I mean, you know, group number 3 had the narcissist. You have the helpless. I'm so helpless. Help me. I'm so innocent. That's your vampires. And the thing is, that's trippy. Spirit's pointing it out to me. Because they are so good with playing innocent, you often, group number 4, seem like the hard ass. They like to make it seem like you're the one who's toxic. I don't know why group number 4 doesn't like me. I try to do everything to make them happy, and I've tried to prove myself to them. They just don't believe me. And you're like, so you've even experienced this group. Yep, you know it's true. You've experienced this group number 4 where you are the one that turns out, you know, people are treating you like, what's wrong with you, group number 4? How could you hurt their feelings? What's wrong with you, group number 4? I'm tired of you being so toxic towards your vampire. Yes. Because you see people way before other people see them. You sniff that out way before anyone else. Group number 4, I hate to say it, but a lot of times the lesson Spirit is saying that you've had to learn is to be okay with not being liked, to be okay with not being validated. You've had to learn that lesson because this kind of energy is very good at playing the victim, and it likes to turn people against you, group number 4. It's kind of the game it plays. Yeah. So Spirit has said in life, you have had to learn your number one lesson, which is outward validation. Don't bother with it, especially when you know the truth. You know what I mean? When you know the truth about someone, it's going to be okay to be alone. Spirit says you've had to be okay being isolated, being alone sometimes. Yeah. Your reputation, root vegetables. It says in those hidden places where most fear to go, there's the most nourishment. That part. Because see, you are the kind of person, group number 4, the vampires that you root out, and I'm using that word even purposefully. The places that you have to, that your knowledge and your wisdom about these kind of vampires, you have to go into their lair, like you have to see into them. A lot of people don't have that power to really see into people and find their core, which is vampiric, and so when you do that, it's like you're seeing something way almost 10 years before people are seeing it, 5 years before people are seeing it. People around you have to actually experience a downfall before they believe you. And you're like, hun, just believe me. I've seen this person, but I think even part of you has given up trying to convince people. You're just like, okay, well, I'll let you take that on. I'll excuse myself. Some of you have had to let people sacrifice themselves so that they could see. Yeah, it's a tough lesson. Yeah. Because sometimes you're going to be a lone wolf in the truth of knowing the truth. Yeah, you have to be okay with people not backing you up, with people saying, oh, you're ridiculous. How could you ever think that about this fallen angel? How could you ever think that? So sometimes these people, they marry your best friend. Sometimes they are your best friend. Sometimes they marry one of your parents again. Like these people, when they creep into your community, they creep into your life, you really, sometimes it's a situation where you're not going to win until this person goes and destroys the very person who was defending them. You've had to watch that sometimes, unfortunately. How do you end them, though? How do you end them? What's your special technique? Scorpio rising. Yep, I got Pluto in the first house, so trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. I don't have Scorpio, but I have Pluto in the first house. Pluto in the first house with Virgo, so y'all know. Because Virgo always has that reputation of, like, we think we know everything, and everybody's like, you think you know everything? And I'm like, I do. Wow. So group number 4, the way that you end them or you take out these vampires is by turning them on themselves. You turn the mirror of them on themselves. You have Medusa here. You turn the mirror of them on themselves. You make them look at themselves. You have a very special spiritual mirror. You shine it on them. Boom. You're right, Raj. Boom. You make them see themselves. And oh my goodness, that is something they don't want to see, is their own reflection. Right? Yep. Let's see what else Spirit is going to say here. Detection methods. How do you detect them? I think you just know because you're a seer. But anything else, Spirit? I think now, because you trust your gifts, I'm not saying you never did trust your gifts, but many people They expect for you to be stressed out. Oh, this is deep. These vampires, I don't know why Spirit wants me to keep showing this. These vampires, they really expect for you to be stressed out. They really expect for you to be ungrounded when everybody decides to isolate from you because you have spoken out against these falling angels. But these vampires are surprised to find that you just rest. You're just cool in your own world. You're so unbothered, group number 4. You're like, okay, so all these people don't believe me. Whatever. I'll just go and be in my own world, comfortable and peaceful in my own life. And that irritates these fallen angels so much. They were so hoping that once they turned everybody against you, that you would be sad or you would be depressed or you would, no, you're just relaxing. Yasmin, you connect with that? Yeah, you're just relaxing. You're like, I'm good. I'm lucky to see the truth. I'm blessed to see the truth. I think that's how you see it. Group number 4. Hey, Yasmin. Yeah. It's like you just you just chilling, having a cup of tea. You're okay by yourself. You're okay because you know that you're not really truly alone. You've got your spirit team, you've got your guides, you've got yourself. You, group number 4, are really wholly within yourself. You play no games. And all of this is a game, but unfortunately, those around you had to understand they're in this person's game. You've already left the game. You're chilling with a cup of tea by the river. Maybe, are you in your houseboat? Where are you, group number 4? Where are you? You're just chilling by the river in a cabin. Not even bothered. That's you. Spirit's like, in the end, you'll be like, I tried to warn you, but it's not going to mess my life up. These fallen angels are not going to mess my life up. They're not going to have me crying. No, sir. No, ma'am. You refuse to be in a 9 of Swords situation. Not when you clearly see people. Some of you recently has tried to warn somebody about some kind of person in their life that's in 9 of Swords, upside down, reverse energy. You told this person's going to leave you high and dry. You told this person, whoever it was, you told somebody about this fallen angel. You really did. You're like, don't do it. Don't do it. This person's going to leave you high and dry. And what did they do? What did they do? High and dry. And you warned this person, don't marry this person. Don't have a baby with this person. Treated them like an option. Treated them like an option. You don't really get happy from these things, group number 4. And you're not there to say, I told you so. But I think you take a risk sometimes with people that you really love. You'll tell them up front, hey, this person's not for you. They're not. They're a user. But oftentimes you're just put in the position of hangman, like you just have to wait it out. You have to observe because people aren't ready to hear what you got to say. And that's something I think more and more you're kind of taking yourself out of Page of Cups position, meaning you're kind of taking yourself out of calling a spade a spade. You're kind of just like, listen, I could do all this. I can go through the motions of people saying you're not right and all this other. I think you're just kind of putting this shell, you're just putting it down. You're like, I'm going to let you go and live your life. And I think some of you just had to learn that lesson. You go live your life. If you ask me what I think about that person, I'll let you know. But I'm not going to sit here and live your life for you or try to interfere with anything. You've kind of understand, group number 4, that in the end, people need to learn their lessons, and some lessons are hard. And that's what you know. Yeah, Raj, you said your sibling's married to one. Yeah. What can you do? You're not going to live people's lives and their lessons. And sometimes these are people really close to you, people you love. Yeah, sometimes you got to leave. That's it. Wow. Okay. Let's just see if there's any other final messages. Y'all are tough, but I think you've had to learn this, group number 4, in the most difficult ways as possible, being ostracized, being isolated. But Spirit says stay in your center. Stay in your center and take no shit. Just stay in your center. That is actually the right move. Stay unbothered, stay meditative, and keep living your life. Okay? Wow. Group number 4. I say I resonated with that one. But I think that kind of thing, you just have to come to your own resolution. And some of it's hard, But my honeys, that is how you scared these energy vampires. And it's good to know there's a few different techniques out there to address this kind of energy. And I'm really happy to be in community with folks who take no shit when it comes to these energy vampires. So thank you so much for your work. I know, Cindy, right? I did too, because I didn't know. I was like, oh, there's more than one way to handle this energy. It's good to know. And if you missed it, go back and watch, because there's Cindy, let me know, there's distinct ways that people have handled this energy. 4 different piles, 4 different ways. None were really alike. So very interesting. Okay, my honeys, before we end, can you please give it a thumbs up so people can locate the recording? I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, your official invitation to join the Black Dove Oracle, please join. And yeah, we will spiritual martial arts. That is exactly what it is, isn't it? Thank you all. I hope you have a good evening. And I'll try to do some more lives. So, let me know if these are interesting. And feel free to send me some suggestions on readings, okay? All right, my honeys, take care.